And we should be live. We've already got people waiting. Awesome. We've already got a bunch of comments. What's happening, Fishing Friends? Let us know if it's working. I always like to start that off and check. I don't want to get 20 minutes into it and it's not working. But I'm excited because I've got a special guest, the tackle junkie himself, Jim. Jim, what do you know?
What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing? Debo, thanks for having me on the show, man.
Dude, the pleasure is all mine. I'm excited to get on. Let's see. Let's just make sure we're working. Yes, it's working. What's up, fellas? All right, we're working. All right. Well, we're excited tonight. I've got the tackle junkie himself. Like I said, as you can see, the wall behind him. Y'all think I've got an addiction and like tackle. This dude knows what's up. Look at this guy.
I might have a small problem.
It's all right. You're in good company, man. Well, I'm excited tonight. We're going to talk tackle. Jim shares a lot of the same interests and stuff that I do. Rods, reels, different lures, trying new stuff out. To me, that's what's fun in the fishing game. So we're going to go through that. Jim's just going to give us a quick overview of himself. I'm going to ask him a few questions. And then really, we're going to get into questions from you all. So I need you all to make sure you're leaving questions over there in the comments. We're going to try to get some questions. Of course, anybody that leaves a donation on stream gets a free sticker if you want one. Free little DEBO'S sticker there. Make sure you hit me up on Instagram. I'd be happy to send you one. But let's get started. Tackle Junkie.
I got to get one of them stickers too, man.
Hey, I'll send you one. I'll get one over to you. So we were talking a little bit before the stream, and one thing I've wondered, it's always kind of an interesting, different story for everyone. You know, I know you grew up fishing and have liked fishing all your life, but where was that tipping point where you went from, just fishing for fun and actually getting into your channel? How'd you get started and kind of how did all that go?
Well, I mean, I've been fishing for, like you said, pretty much all my life, and it started out more of just panfish and catfish. And I've been working full time since I was 13. I work for my parents. They have a mobile truck washing business. So like I said, I've been working full time since I was 13. It's a small business, so there really is there's nobody to take my spot. So if I'm not there, the work's not getting done. So I really have no replacement. So the time that I put it this way, I never really had time to really fish any tournaments or anything like that. But I wanted to be involved somehow with fishing. And that's really where YouTube came about. It really one of the first guys I started watching, and I don't believe he even makes videos anymore, was Team Rippin' Lips. I don't know if you ever watched him, Sonny, no. Team Rippin' Lips. Cool dude. Anyways, he's kind of the one that kind of got me going with YouTube. I started watching some of his stuff, and I just reached out to him. We just started talking. He really became a good friend of mine over the years. And like I said, I was watching his videos, and I'm like, yeah, well, I can do that. And the thing about YouTube was I could do it whenever I had the time, whether it was making a video at midnight,
for sure,
before work, or whatever the case was. Yep. I could be involved in the fishing industry that way. So that's really how the whole YouTube came about. I just wanted to be involved, couldn't get the time off work, so I just made the best of it with YouTube. And that's really where we are today,
Cool. Yeah, same for me. I would like to do tournaments. I never really, I honestly didn't even know how to get into it. My old man was never in the tournament type scene. He probably would have if we could have back then got into it and done that, but they weren't readily available, I guess. I don't know if you just had to know the right people or maybe we're just, dumb hermits or something, but yeah, same thing. I mean, I wish I could have got on and done more when I was younger. We didn't have a college bass team. You probably didn't over there, I don't think, did you?
No.
Yeah.
It just kind of fun stuff that started happening now. You said when we were younger, really, none of that was really popular, wasn't really going on.
Yeah. There was no high school teams or college fishing. I mean, that's cool, but cool. Okay. I wondered. Got a few donations coming in. Austin, thank you very much for the donation. Daniel dropping the 10 bomb. Thank you very much, sir. I'll tip to that. And my brother's in the stream. My brother Martin. Thanks for the live stream, guy. Keep them coming. He's actually my sticker guy. So everybody give my guy Martin a hug. Okay,
very
cool. See, I always wondered. It's always fun to see how people got into it because it's not like it's just something I think anybody goes into knowing they want to do or something. Maybe with now the generation now, we're a couple older dudes. We didn't grow up with YouTube and all that. So.
And just really getting into bass fishing. I mean, obviously, one of the things that you're curious about are all the lures. I mean, if you walk into Bass Pro, it's very easy to get confused, So some of the first videos I started watching were tackle unboxing videos to get an idea of what guys were using, what I should be throwing. So that's really how my channel kicked off with mostly tackle videos because that's really all I really knew from what I watched, So I'm like, I can do this. So that's really how that all this came about, and obviously all the tackle. I mean, tackle junkie, it just kind of fit,
Yeah, see, I'm not real sure you've ever done an unboxing. Looking behind you, I think
maybe a couple,
I think that was where I first saw you. I was looking up like a certain lure I didn't know anything about, and it was in one of your unboxings. And I've talked about this on my stream before. Like, I was totally not into social media, didn't have a Facebook account, didn't have any of that. And I ended up finding you, and it was like, man, I bet I could really hit it off with this guy. And my thing was like, I never wanted to reach out to people. I didn't want to be that guy. When I was starting, you had, I don't know how many, you had way more subscribers than I did. And I'm like, he'd be fun to talk to, but I'm not going to be that fool that's reaching out. Like, oh, hey, you want to be my buddy, And, part of you always is apprehensive because you don't want to do that. You're afraid they're just going to shut you down and be like, oh, I look up to this guy. You want to talk? No, nerd, get lost,
Right, gotcha.
But, so many guys out there are so cool, and I've kind of gotten over that lately. Same for, Hank. I think actually Hank reached out to me finally.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where it's
I had reached out to Hank, and I said, he ended up reaching out to you before I did, but that's what I did. I reached out to Hank and said, man, we need to get hold of Debo, and I'll start, doing videos together. So
see, that's funny. Cool. Yeah, I'm hoping. We've talked about it a few times on here before, but we're hoping to be able, because you just live a state away from me. I didn't realize how far south you lived to me, though. It's like a 4-hour trip to get over to you. And we're neighboring states.
It's 4 hours? I never even looked it up. We're only 4 hours?
Yeah, it's like 4.5 hours.
Dude, that's not really bad at all, though.
It's not,
but we were much further than that. We could get up early in the morning, meet up, and, make some videos, dude. That wouldn't be too bad at all.
We can meet halfway, find a campground, throw up a tent, do a catch and cook that night. It'd be insanity.
Yeah. Dude, I'd be down for that, dude. Yeah, for some reason, I just thought you were much further than that.
No.
Awesome.
Dude, if we could get a video, catch and cook, cops called, I push tackle junkie in the water, tackle junkie nearly drowns, dude, it'd blow up the internet. Or if we did an unboxing together, that would probably blow up the internet.
Dude, that would be good, man. You know what we could do? We could meet at like a tackle shop midway and just both buy a bunch of tackle, man. Dude, that would be cool.
Dude, that'd be awesome. If we find a cool tackle like place, a mom and pop place, that'd be even better for like, hey, can we film it here and show off your place? They'd be like, we don't know about this fandangled YouTube. It'd still be fun though.
That'd be awesome, dude. We need to really consider that.
I'm down, dude. I wish the Kobe wasn't running rampant.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Hank, he's got to be what? How many hours is Hank from you?
Oh, I don't know, like 70. He lives clear out in the hills. I'd probably have to take a chopper halfway in.
Right. Well, we got to get him involved too, though. We definitely got to meet up somehow, all three of us.
Hank needs to purchase a chopper, fly out to us. Done.
There we go.
Solved.
Sounds good.
Okay, so a few other questions we talked about. I'm way behind on donations. I'll try to make sure I call everybody out. Let's see. Will Junkin dropped the donation, said, love some Tackle Junkie 81 and DEBO'S fishing. Well, Will, we love you too. Thank you very much for joining. Fat Boy Fishing, you probably know him, Jim.
Old Fat Boy, yep. He's a good old boy, man.
My guy, Fat Boy Fishing. He's a damn good dude. Makes his own swim jigs. Very good guy. I know he appreciates both of us, and he likes the unboxings. And
he does a heck of a job on them jigs.
What's that? Yeah, he does. He does some damn good jigs.
Those jigs.
Yep. Yeah. And no, we're not. I'm not. At least me. I'm not doing a rod and reel arsenal. He always asks me to do that. My guy Chris McVeigh, a supporter from almost the beginning, very, very young, but Chris is a very good dude. Chris, thank you so much for the donation. My guy Naughty Grains, another local Iowa guy here, loving these lives, Debo. They're fun to do. It's a fun twist. Jim can attest to that. People don't understand the amount of work that goes into, a little bit of scripting before a video, actually filming the video, moving all your footage over, editing it when you have a full-time job and kids. Dude, right. It's a damn hassle. It's a workout. You've got to enjoy the hustle and want to do it.
Oh, for sure, yeah, dude.
I don't do it just because I'm bored. I like it, but it's sometimes. Mm-hmm. Austin dropped another donation. Said, "Hey, Debo, any tips on fishing blue dyed water? The closest pond to my house is dyed a pretty solid blue." Well, Austin, I think you might actually be accidentally fishing in the local swimming pool. Don't fish there. Dyed blue. I don't know. Have you ever fished any dyed blue places?
To be honest, my uncle, he had a pond. It's kind of funny. It's a smaller pond. I mean, it probably wasn't even a half acre, and he had that loaded with some kind of like hybrid bluegill. I mean, these were like 2 pounders, big bluegill. He had bass in there, and even had striper in there. But the
Damn.
problem was, I think he just had too many striper, and they were like I guess the main species in there. Nothing else was really growing. The bass weren't getting big at all. But anyways, for whatever reason, he had dyed that lake, and it was blue. Now, I didn't fish it any differently than I did anything else. You know what I mean? We were just throwing rattle traps, catching stripers and stuff. It was a blast. But again, I don't really know if you would fish it differently. I mean, I honestly don't know. But it was blue. Yeah.
Austin, I'd probably still go off water clarity. Like, if it's such a dark blue that you can only see like 2 feet, I'd treat it like dirty, stained water. Almost like a green algae bloom. You know what I mean? Like, those algae blooms will turn the water completely like a weird green. So, you know, I'd go with that. Or if it's pretty clear, it's just got like a blue tinge to it, I'd treat it like pretty clear water. Go natural colors. And then
you can just white spinnerbait, something like that in the water, see how far you can see it down, and judge it that way.
Yep. And then, of course, the other thing is if you don't know what's in there, put on like a little curly tail and try to catch whatever forage the bass might be eating, and then copy those. You know, if it's all crappie or if it's all bluegill or whatever, try to match the hatch. Okay, so we talked about where you came from. What are your, I know you've been looking to move. That's kind of one of your aspirations. Or what else do you see your channel doing, or where do you kind of want to go? What do you want your channel to be?
I mean, the end goal obviously is to go full time. But like we were talking before the stream, I mean, the amount of money we make on YouTube, it's tough to really do anything. You know what I mean? It barely supports the tackle habit.
Yep.
Let alone quitting a full-time job and trying to move to Table Rock.
Right.
But that is the end goal. If I could get big enough, if this channel really could replace the income I'm making from my day job, I would like to end up on Table Rock. I mean, I've always said really where you fish will make or break your channel. And where I'm 100%. At here in Illinois, I just cannot go full-time where I'm at. There's just not good enough water around me. You know what I mean? Of course, I could travel a few hours to fish a better lake in Illinois, but with working a full-time job, I just don't have time for that.
I get it.
So if you're on a good lake, obviously you can pump out videos anytime you can get down there, just because, you know, if you're on a better lake, obviously you're going to catch fish. But I mean, I'll fight all day to get 5 bites on these lakes that I fish, and half the time they ain't big enough to make a video, so you've wasted an entire day and you've got no footage to show for it, you know. So the end goal, like I said, is to go full-time. Will that ever happen? I mean, I really don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see where it goes.
Keep grinding, dude. Hell yeah, well, keep grinding.
As far as things I'm going to change up this year would be, I'm going to get into trout fishing. So, I mean, I've never done it before.
I saw that.
It'll be just a whole, you know, beginner process the whole way through it, as far as getting the equipment, baits, how to catch them and all that. So, I mean, it'll be a challenge, I'm sure, but I'm looking forward to a change. You know, of course, we're stuck in a bass fish.
Yeah.
Just whenever the bass aren't biting, we're going to go for trout. That's kind of the plan.
I love it. Like when it gets cold and people knock on stock trout, like, oh, you're a bass guy, but you fish for stock trout, like you're scum. Like, you know, whatever. You know, when the bass bite gets cold here in Iowa, you know, I can still fish in November, open water. Like, you know, obviously the bass fishing dies off. You have a boat, you can kind of go out and chase some of those fish that are moving off into deeper points. But if you're bank angling, like, and you just want a fun time, dude, stock trout or, you know, regular trout, we have a whole bunch, and I didn't know until a couple of years ago, my buddy Brady showed me that we have a ton of live, you know, streams with like actual trout, you know, native trout, with these streams in Iowa that never freeze over. You know, it's like a constant 55 degrees or whatever. So going out and doing that stuff, yeah, like you said, when the bass aren't biting, it's a ton of fun.
Now, what's your like go-to trout lure?
For me, a rooster tail has been my killer here. But when you get to the natural streams and it's like the actual native trout, they spook so easy. I couldn't get them to hit anything like that. Just doing like, I forget what he called it, a floating rig. It was just like a little tiny split shot, essentially like a mojo rig with a little tiny trout hook. And I had like honeyworms, power bait honeyworms, and just letting that flow down with the stream. And they're just waiting for stuff to flow down to them. And yeah, it was a ton of fun. It's a different fight.
A lot of guys recommend the power bait.
Yep.
How would you like compare a fight for a trout versus like a largemouth?
Size, trout are way crazier. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I can imagine probably the biggest trout that I've caught is, I don't know, 16 inches maybe. And dude, they're crazy. I mean, they're just, on an ultralight, they're fun as hell. Some of these guys are pulling out rainbows that look to be like 3 pounds. These things look huge. I couldn't imagine fighting one of those.
Right. No kidding.
So I can't.
Do you use spinning gear, or do you actually use a fly rod?
Spinning gear. No, I tried a fly rod once and I about hung myself. So no more of that. I just use ultralight spinning gear.
Right. I did order some fly equipment, but then I ordered plenty of backup spinning combos just in case I just could not get a hold of the fly deal. I got some spinning combos for a backup.
It takes a lot of room, unless you can be actually wading out in the stream and doing that stuff. I think it'd be fun, but fishing from the bank and stuff, when you're not doing that, it's just there. You need so much room to be able to cast and stuff. The ultralight is just really the way to go.
All right.
But okay.
But if you don't mind, real fast, what's your end goal to the channel? Like, what's your game plan?
That's a good question, Jim. I don't know. People have asked, are you going to go full time? And I never stepped into this thinking I was going to go full time. That was never even on my horizon. But my channel's done more than I thought it could. It becomes.
Did you had one heck of a year, man?
Yeah, this year it exploded. I couldn't believe it, man. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, maybe someday, if I got the right thing, it's hard to take that leap. And, people that do it, they've got bigger balls than I do, just to quit your job and jump in, like with my family and my 401k that I've got saved up. Like they have to come first right now. Unless, YouTube could say, hey, you know what? We're not going to pay anymore. We're not going to monetize. Then what?
Yeah, that's the thing. You just really never know. I mean, it really is a big challenge, or a big, like, what would you call that? A big leap of faith that you're taking
for sure
to quit your day job to risk it all on YouTube. And that's really where I'm at. I mean, I think I could do it, but it's like, I don't know. I don't want to give up security.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Let's see. Let's try to get to some comments. I am way, way, way behind. Hey, Jen. Jekyll Bates is in here. Sup, gents? Hello.
What's going on, Jennifer?
I just put in an order with her. If y'all want to see somebody you think I do good paintings, check out her stuff. She is on a complete whole different level. Beautiful. She's working with bullshed now. Beautiful little what do they call those? Is it the baby bullshed? The baby bullshed.
And baby bullgill, yeah.
Yep. I just put in an order with her. She cooked up some cool stuff. Check out her page. She just did a DEBO'S shad that looks ridiculous. I've got a long ways to go to catch up to her, but damn, she does good work.
Yeah, she's one of the best I've seen, yeah.
Yeah. Girl can sling some paint.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Where are we at with questions? I had some, and for whatever reason, my feed sometimes jumps. David Rauschenbach said, ask TJ81 to give up his spaghetti sauce recipe.
You know how it goes with Italians, man. If we tell you, we know what happens next.
Yeah.
Wearing some concrete boots,
Tiny's coming after you to take you fishing.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Let's see. Dinks. Spencer Whitney said Dinks and Junkies tonight. I know. Sounds kind of crazy, huh? Let's see. One I did see is, and this is something we were talking about, Jim, is what are 3 spring baits either that you're looking to throw this year? Maybe they could be things that you haven't thrown before and you want to get into. For example, for me, it's the wake bait. Like, I never throw wake baits. It's hard for me to differentiate between a topwater. If I can get on a topwater bite, it's on. If it's not on, I'm going to switch to other, search baits. Both you and I have the same passion for spinner baits. That's one of my go-tos. Paddle tail. How do you view spring fishing, or what are some lures you're looking to throw?
For me, I mean, I say I keep it pretty simple for the most part, but it really is just because of the waters that I fish. I mean, for the most part, they're pretty stained and muddy. I mean, cold, muddy water, fishing that I'd rather sit at home and do nothing. I mean, it's a challenge, And like I said, there's zero sight fishing in the lakes that I fish, just because, like I said, there's zero visibility. So majority of my fishing all comes down to reaction type baits, just trying to cover a lot of water, find some fish. And really in the spring, during the spawn and all that, I'm just really examining the fish, looking for clues. If I catch one or two, if I find a spawner, then I may work that area much slower with a flash or something like that. But I'm always going to start out with a square bill. I mean, that's like my first love. I mean, I love a square bill, spinnerbait, like you said, and a chatterbait. Those 3 early spring. I mean, I keep them on the deck and just keep running and gunning until I find some fish. And again, I may slow down with the plastic, but I mean, for me, it's always hard to put down that square bill. I guess I'm so in tune with the bait. It's like I almost can just see what the bait's doing underwater. You know what I mean? I just feel so connected with it that I feel like I'm going to fish that lure the best over anything else. Even if it's not the right bait for the conditions, I just have the most confidence in it. I know I'm going to catch more fish on it. So, yeah, those 3 baits for me would definitely be my lures that I'd start out with early spring.
So did I hear you right? Square bill, spinnerbait, and chatterbait. Those are your 3 go-to? Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Power. Are you over there flexing, Mr. Power Fisherman? Okay.
I love it. I love it, man.
Let's say I've got you handcuffed and cement boots ready. I'm going to throw you in unless you fish finesse. Mm-hmm. Your life depends on it. What are the 2 finesse options that you think are the best during spring?
I'm going to say...
And I know it's kind of hard in super chocolate milk water. Let's say you've got kind of a place that's stained. Maybe you've got a couple feet of visibility. Mm-hmm. What are you turning to?
I'm going to say... I've always liked a shaky head or finesse. I like a shaky head.
Yep.
And I'm going to probably say a wacky rig.
Okay.
Would be my go-to.
I love it.
Or even just a Senko, just weightless Texas rig. Either way, either Texas rig or wacky rig. But
yep.
I'd say, yeah, that or a shaky head.
I like it. Yeah, and like the Senko is kind of something that we tend to shy away from just because, you know, as content creators, we can't go out and throw a Senko every day. You know, that would be so damn boring. People be gone in no time. But, you know, for everybody else out there, don't, just because we're not fishing them or whatever, don't think that they don't work. You watch MLF and those guys, you know, pre-spawn, I remember last year were throwing the hell out of a wacky rig. You know, catching bedding fish, catching fish moving in. Yeah, it's something I think, I guess maybe in my eyes gets overlooked. So that's a good point. Early spring, I mean, kind of gets overlooked. You know, people talk about Ned rig, and I love the Ned rig. Nico rig, or Neko rig, I'm probably going to throw a lot more this year.
That's what I want to fish more as well, right?
Okay.
Would that be your 2, the Ned and the Neko?
My finesse or just all together spring?
Finesse.
Number 1, I'd have to say is the finesse jig. Randizzle has tainted me and turned me to the dark side. Like, I couldn't put them down, man. They're legit. Otherwise, Ned rig, like, you can catch fish on that all year long. It's solid. Shaky head, too. Like, I think before, shaky head was probably my favorite, especially for beginners or bank anglers because of how weedless it is. Right? You're not getting snagged all the time. So.
Now, using a Ned head, are you using a weedless version or are you using just an open hook?
Now I am. Yeah. And you can kind of get away with using the open hook if you know you're training in the spring, because that's one thing for people that, you know, kind of get discouraged at certain spots. You have to remember in the early spring for everyone, all your grass hasn't grown up in most places yet. You don't have a ton of vegetation. Generally is going to be clearer coming out until you start to get those rains and such that start to muddy up the waters. But a lot of times you can get to places, we kind of talked about this last time, you can get to places, Randizzle brought this up, you can get to places because it's not all grown over, right? You know, a lot of the places you go to bank fish mid to late summer are so overgrown with stuff you can't get there. Early spring, though, cattails haven't come up. You can get in there, you know, it's just got some of the dead stuff, so it kind of opens different stuff.
That's cool.
Okay, so one question I ask everybody, and on my channel, each year I try to focus on 2 baits. So I think you kind of maybe answered one. Like, for example, me this year, again, is the big swim bait, glide bait. I tried to dedicate to it last year. I didn't catch crap. I didn't catch a single fish on a 6-inch or larger swim bait. And then the wake bait, just because I don't throw them. So gotcha. Are there a couple lures that you're looking to focus on this year, maybe that you're not as comfortable with to get better?
I would agree with you on the swim bait. I mean, really the only big glide bait, swim bait that I own are the S-Wavers. And, you know, I've thrown from time to time, but it's something I don't have a ton of confidence in. And the only size fish that I've caught on them has been smaller than the bait. You know, so I don't have enough confidence in those yet, but that would be something I would love to throw more. Finesse in general, again, I don't finesse fish a whole lot. I would like to finesse fish more. That, and be honest, an A-rig. I don't throw an A-rig a lot either. I would like to do that more as well, you know.
Yeah, I tried throwing it a couple times last year, and I just don't have confidence in that thing. It's crazy looking.
Yeah, same deal. That's really what it is. I just don't have confidence in it. But I guess you just got to keep doing it until you gain confidence in it. Then it'll end up being one of our favorite lures as well. You know, it's just tough to, you know, put down your favorite lures and throw something that you don't have any confidence in.
Especially when you're trying to get content. If I wasn't a content creator
Oh,
and
I
I
know,
just wanted
dude.
to go out and throw stuff, I'd dedicate a whole day to big swim baits, no problem.
Exactly. Right.
But, you and I know that time is limited, with a family and everything. So you get out there, it's like, oh, I'll try it for an hour. Nothing happened. Okay, I'm going back to my spinnerbait. I know I can find something.
Exactly. Yeah, you always do. You feel rushed, just because we don't have any extra days. I mean, there is no like fun fishing days. Any days that I'm sure you as well that we have, it's we need a video, so you just have to do what you think is going to catch fish.
Yep.
There really is no time to have fun and play around,
Yep. Yeah. And that kind of, people have talked to me about tournament fishing and stuff. With like, is it your dream to become a tournament fisher? Obviously, I don't know enough about, deep fishing. You have to be so well-rounded to tournament fish. But part of my thing is, it would honestly, I think, take the fun out of fishing. You're traveling all the time. You're gone. You're away from your family. If you're not winning, you're not getting paid. Like, it's a rough gig.
Right.
It's not just cherries and ice cream the way people think it is. Like, it's a tough grind.
Yeah, it would definitely be a mental game as well. Like you said, if you're not winning, you're going to be thinking to yourself, what am I doing here,
Yeah, what the hell am I doing here? I have to spend $100,000 in fees,
Right.
and I haven't even won yet. I'm negative.
Right.
Yeah. You better have some damn good
It really
sponsors
is.
that believe
It's
in
a
you.
mind game.
Yeah. And you see guys crumble like that. You see, like, top-level anglers, some of the top 10 guys out there, like, when you start that downward spiral, it's kind of like a game of momentum, like basketball. You start that downward spiral, and if you don't just become neutral in your thoughts, man, it just keeps trickling down.
You just keep questioning yourself, and you're like, yeah, heck with this, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do we got? Snake River guy said, what are you drinking, Debo? A little Tennessee honey and Coke. One of my favorite go-tos right now. Trying to watch my girlish figure.
Let me ask you, I haven't looked back as far as your, the beginning of your channel. Were you always just tackle type videos and fishing, or were you just mainly tackle stuff in the beginning, or when did you actually transition to fishing videos, or did you always do fishing videos?
Yeah, I've always tried to. And I think that's kind of one of the things that helps my channel is I'm kind of a little bit of everything. Like, I'm not just, I don't only fish. I don't only unbox. I don't only do gear reviews. Like, and for me, it was out of necessity. Like, if I could fish all the time and make videos of that, I would love to. But like, as I've gone through it, some of like the review stuff, I'm a huge tackle nerd, obviously as we've spoken about. I love taking stuff apart and tinkering with it, and I love trying new reels and looking at, how they compare to the old reels, so that's one of my favorite things to do. But, just, I think being able to do anything has really helped me and not just locked me in, and once winter hit, I had to do something different. So I'm like, I'll unbox stuff and do reviews on gear. People like it. It beats just looking at my ugly face talk about stuff,
Speaking of reels, you're talking about taking reels apart. I mean, you did a great job on that series as well, cleaning reels and all that.
Thank you, brother. Hey, and you really pioneered that. You search Tackle Junky, I think one of the first things that come up is your reel cleaning.
Is it? Yeah, most guys that come to the channel, that's how they say they found me, through my reel cleaning videos. Yeah,
dude, it's crazy.
And real be honest, I want to do, and you can probably attest to this, I want to do more of those. But I'm not how long it really took you to do that. But when I clean a reel the way I want to clean it, it's like 4 or 5 hours.
Dude, forever.
You know what I mean? The way I want to do it. So it's like I just don't have the time to sit down here and do that like I used to, But I mean, I really enjoy doing that, to see how smooth you could get the reels and how you can improve on things and all that. Yep. It really was just a great pastime. I really wish I had the time to do that more, I'd like to take apart every reel and do cleaning videos on it, but it's so time consuming,
It is. And that's the tough part. I get questions on, you can take apart a Doyo reel, like, a Luz or a Bass Pro Abu, all those, once you open them up, they look pretty much the same. Right. But people ask me like odd questions on, hey, I took apart this, Shimano, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hell, I don't know. I don't even have that reel yet, Right. And I feel bad because, people come to us, but at the same time, how many comments have we had, people back and forth, saying, oh, I learned how to clean this from you, or I learned how to cast a reel from you, or, you showed me this on your unboxing Tackle Junky, and now I got it, and it caught me my PB. Like, that's what keeps me coming back, so.
That's cool, man. Yeah, for the most part, I'd imagine, like I said, I haven't had, obviously, every reel taken apart, but, I mean, for the most part, I'd imagine they're pretty similar, If you're going to take a reel apart that, obviously, we haven't done, I mean, you still can watch our videos and still figure out how to do it. I think what people are mostly afraid of, that they're going to pop off that side plate and things are going to fly out at them. You know what I mean? That's really not the case. It's just take your time. And
that's something we might have to do. And I was going to ask you that, and I forgot about it. I got hit in the head too much when I was younger. But I had a whole bunch of people donating and asking me to do a reel cleaning live, and I would like to have you on sometime here in the near future before it gets too warm and we're all out fishing. But I think we should do a reel cleaning live and set like an hour-ish aside if we can do that, and just kind of open up some reels, talk about the parts, the things that we do to try to help people. I talked to a few other guys that were super helpful because I wanted to get their take on it, how they did it. Some other guys that clean reels for a living. So I'd be happy to bring their names in and kind of how they did stuff, but that might be a fun live.
Yeah, that could be fun, yeah.
Tear apart a reel and clean it on live and show people what we're doing.
Right, that's cool.
We can have your face talking, and I'll be the hands in front of the thing because obviously you're far more handsome than I am. So.
Right. I don't know, dude. That beard is stylish, man.
Oh, man.
I'm getting a few grays in mine, you know.
Oh, dude, I do too. I do too, man. Okay, speaking of, BS Finn said, I give credit to TJ81 for turning me on to the biffle bug. It was really good for me in September, then early October I caught a muskie on it. Perfect example of you don't understand how much power you have as an influencer or whatever they call it.
Right. So if you guys haven't put one of the baby biffle bugs on the back of a buzz bait, definitely try that out as well. A lot of people wouldn't think to put that on there as a trailer. Take the skirt off, put a little biffle bug on there.
I like it.
That's a cool little deal.
See, tackle hacks, messing with tackle. Let's see, what else do we have? Mark D said, Debo, do more catch and cooks in your kitchen. Love that one. I am going to try to. It's ice fishing season, so I'm going to try to catch some more and keep them. Steve Smith said, what do you guys think of the cream 6-inch tube worms, and what rig would you use them on? You ever use that rig, or that worm?
No, I have not, no.
I have not either. Okay. Let's see.
Like the tube worm? A tube worm?
6-inch tube worm.
Yum, years ago, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, they used to make one called the Yum Doozy. And it was a tube, but they had them, I think, in like 6-inch, 8-inch. They may even made like 10 inches. I mean, it looked ridiculous, but that's what it was. Just a big old tube worm. But it looked like just your standard 4-inch tube, obviously. But again, it was like 8 inches long. And I mean, you could drag them on a Carolina rig. I would even just Texas rig them, drag them by themselves, you know. But that's all the experience that I would have with a big old tube worm. But yeah, those weren't out for a long time. They discontinued those after a few years.
Good, because I didn't even know what they were. A 6-inch tube seems crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think they even had them in 8-inch.
Let's see. Where did we go? Why did everything move on me? I had a good question for us. Okay, so we talked about where you came from, spring baits. How about, let's see, we're a half hour in? Let's talk about gear. Is there any like rod, reel, new lures that have come out? Anything that you're looking forward to trying this year or you've heard of? Or
I tell you what, as far as soft plastics go, I think the name is G-Crack. Have you heard of them?
I have, yeah. I've got.
I think it's the Bellows Gill. That one has really caught my eye. I do have some of those on order. That's definitely a bait that I believe it's a bluegill imitator. Of course, they have smaller ones for shad and all that as well. But I believe the main part of it is a bluegill imitator. I tell you what, it looks pretty dang sick. I'm thinking like maybe a lighter belly weighted hook on it, or even Carolina rigged. I think it will be a pretty good fish catcher for sure. That one for baits, I'm looking forward to. Rods and reels, you would know about the Akuma Psycho Stick. And like we talked earlier, I finally got a production rod in, and it came in 2 pieces, but they don't sell them in 2 pieces. It's a 1-piece rod, but USPS decided to break it on the way to delivering it to me. So I got a 2-piece, but it is a sharp looking rod, man. You got one there?
I'll give everyone a sneak peek of it. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. I'll give everybody a sneak peek of it. Yeah, man, this thing's pretty crazy. It's a pretty sexy rod. The cool thing about these, they said, is like every single rod is different the way they weave them. Right. So it's got kind of like a unique pattern. But yeah, super light. I'm excited to go over this one and show everybody. But yeah, get my hands on this baby early. Yep. It's pretty sweet.
Is that the 7.5?
No, I got the 7.2. They don't name them. Okay. So this is just the 7.2 medium heavy. Fast. 7.2 medium.
Medium.
1/8 to 5/8. So that'd be a good like weightless rod, lighter lures rod. I'm excited.
I believe that's the one I had in the the early production model, not the production model, like the what do you call
Prototype.
that? Like the prototype, yeah. And the production one they sent me with the 7.5 medium heavy, and the butt end felt really good in hand. Obviously, I didn't have the full rod in hand, but it was a good feeling rod. So I'd say that for equipment, and as far as plastics go, definitely the bellows gill.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, piss! You put me on the spot. My buddy.
Not to butt in. As far as reels go, though, that reel that you had mounted on there, I'd like to check out that reel as well. That's that skipping reel, ain't it?
No, this isn't the skipping reel.
Oh, that one ain't?
No. You know what we need to do? We should split our powers. This is the Tatula 100.
Oh, wait. Is that an orange line?
Yeah, it's orange line. That was a challenge I did last year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, not a little
I thought I was
spool.
looking at, because I thought those had the orange spool, that one loose
They
skipping
do.
reel.
Yeah.
So I thought that.
It's just smoke and mirrors. I was just trying to trick you. Let's see. A dose of reels saying, Debo, what's up? Speaking about people that clean reels for a living, if you guys need your reels cleaned, he's down in Florida, so if you're in his region, he's a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
Did have some donations come in. I want to make sure I get to those. James, is it Carico? Greetings from Virginia. Keep up the great videos. Well, sir, thank you so much for the donation. Aaron Wetzel with the 20 bomb. Hello from Southern Illinois. You Illinois guys over there. Are you a college basketball fan or college football fan? College sports fan?
Yes, I don't watch any sports, to be honest with you, bud.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that. Well, That's fine because I was going to be playing Illinois, so I didn't know if you're going to try to talk smack. I was going to delete you from the live. Kason McMullen with the $5 donation. I'd love to see you two fish together. Dude, if we can make it happen, Jim and I have talked about it for quite a long time now. I would be honored to jump in the boat with him.
We will make it happen, dude. 4.5 hours ain't any better. I'll get up early, dude. I'll be there at 8, man.
Oh, you don't want to come here. The crazy Debo waters. Usama Khan, I think that's how you say it. Greetings from Canada. Keep rocking. Thank you very much. Pima623. Is it really a waste a day if you're fishing, though? And that's a damn good point. I never look at a day, even if I don't catch stuff, as a bad day. From a content creator standpoint, I do. Like, it sucks if you go out and spend a whole day and don't get footage. Like, it feels like a waste. But in the grand scheme of things, man, there's a whole lot worse stuff we could be doing than out fishing and not getting a video, you know?
What's bad is, though, especially when we're trying to get footage and, like, I have to work the next day and I'm not getting bit, I fish so much faster just because I'm trying to find the fish. And all I'm doing is hurting myself, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just,
dude, think of a tournament guy. Think if that's the only way you made your money. You would literally be crying and pooping yourself inside if you couldn't catch stuff and you had, what is it to make a check? $10,000 to make a check on a lot of those.
Right.
I don't know how they do it. Jen over at Jekyll Productions dropped a sub or dropped a donation. Good stuff, guys. Great to see you both on. Thank you so much, Jen. Let's see. I think I'm through about everyone. We need to get some questions.
And what about you, though? You didn't say, what are you looking forward to as far as plastics or hard baits or gear this year?
Okay, let's see. Gear or hard baits this year. I haven't really looked at a ton of the like new plastics, and it's hard to know what's coming out. I'm trying to think of anything. Yeah, I do want to try these flat sides. I got some of these Fritz flat sides.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to get some of those Otts Garage from. I don't know.
Right, I got some of those on order.
Did you? Did you pre-order them or like backstock order?
No, I don't have them yet. That's something that I ordered on during Black Friday. I ordered from those from Tackle Inc. and they're just still gathered on my order.
Oh,
They may have them in. I'm not really sure yet, but I'm just kind of
I
waiting
keep
for everything
checking
to
and
get.
they're not. Maybe they are now, but okay, I'm jealous of you. So some of those, like the balsa stuff, I don't get into a bunch of it, like the DTs, Rapala or Rapala. I don't know however you pronounce it.
Those are one of my favorites, man. I love the DT series.
Oh, absolutely. DTs are killer. Randizzle kind of got me turned on to those. I threw them a little bit when I was younger. I didn't have many of them. I think they were too expensive. Like the Normans, the Bombers. I had a lot of those just because they were cost effective. But that stuff, I want to kind of dabble in the balsa stuff. Some of them get pretty crazy priced, but
oh yeah, they do.
Gosh, I don't know. I've kind of got a random peppering of things I want to try. Obviously, that Psycho Stick, that rod feels super nice.
It does, right?
That skipping reel, that loose skipping reel, I got that. I haven't got to throw it yet, obviously, because we're iced over. I don't know. You're putting me on the spot. That's about it. I just want to catch open water fish.
Speaking of that, that skipping reel, do you have a Corrado DC?
I don't have the DC. No.
You don't. Do you have the SLX DC?
I do. Yep.
I would like to compare one of the DC reels to one of those loose skipping reels, just to see which one really has the better braking system.
Yeah.
That'd be a good video.
Because somebody was at I watched KVD. Obviously, there's clearly a gap here between me and KVD, but KVD said he was using them and he thought he was good at skipping before. I forget what the exact words were, but it felt like magic or something like that, skipping with that skipping reel. I've seen that video. Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, ooh.
And he was taking his thumb off and skipping, no problem. But you can do that same thing with the DC as well, though.
Right. And if you get it dialed in and you throw a correct pitch. See, I don't even know what the hell it's called. Throw a correct skip. Like, you can do that, man, because it's all about trajectory. If you can get it just like you're skipping a rock and get it to hit right, you don't even need to feather that spool. It'll just kind of die out.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Lord, look at this. We're having technical difficulties. But yeah, it will be interesting to test. And I'm not like an amazing skipper. I can skip decent, but yeah, I think that gives me a good excuse to work it more too and do a video on it maybe. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm decent as well, but like I said, that DC, I mean, it makes me look like a pro. I mean, I feel it's that good. So I'm really curious to see how that loses.
I haven't tried that. I need to try that with the SLX.
Yeah.
Do you have the SLX DC and the Corrado DC?
I do. I have both. I haven't used the SLX DC yet, but I've been using the Corrado for a year or two now. Yeah, I love that one for sure.
Do you notice much of a difference between the two as far as skipping or castability?
Like I said, I haven't even spooled up the SLX DC yet.
Oh, you haven't spooled it?
Yeah, but I've been using the Corrado DC. I have them both, just haven't used the SLX DC.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if those two. I thought somebody said they had the same braking systems.
They do.
And then I thought it was the Scorpion. Is that the Scorpion DC?
Yeah, there's a Scorpion
I thought they
DC.
said that was just a bit better braking system compared to the Corrado there.
Oh.
But yeah, I thought the SLX and the Corrado had the same braking system. So either one should pretty good, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. What else do we have? I had a good question here. I wish this would stop moving. Let's see. Monkey Vids really wants to know about a tackle backpack. Looking for a new tackle backpack, relatively cheap. Any recommendations? You should have hit the Tackle Warehouse backpack. I love that thing. I'm not sponsored by them. They don't pay me to say this. Hands down, the best backpack I've had. Now I'm kind of biased because I haven't used every bank fishing tackle backpack out there, but the biggest thing for me was the shoulder straps. I obviously packed too much stuff in mine, and every single one that I had before, every cheap one, ripped there. Either ripped there or at the bottom. And, my air compressor came on. Sorry, guys, don't be scared. But with that one, it's double stitched at the top, double stitched at the bottom. I've abused the hell out of that thing, and I need to do a review on it. But I like that one. How about you? Do you have any tackle backpacks you love?
I use a couple of different ones from Akuma. The one I'm currently using, or I guess the one that I plan to pack up, it's from Ego, but it's a bit more on the expensive side. I want to say it's right around $159, something like that. But I mean, it's a well-built bag. But a very similar bag compared to that Ego was one that I used the previous year. It was from PC Fun, and it was a well-built bag as well. And I want to say it was right around maybe $89, probably same price range as the Tackle Warehouse. You can get them on Amazon or directly through PC Fun, but it was a decent bag as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and like during the holiday sale, I think they had that for $39 or $49. So look for their sales. Tackle Warehouse does the 15-20% off deal. So try to time it on one of those if you can hold out. But
that ain't bad at all.
Yeah.
I thought that bag was more close to $100, the Tackle Warehouse bag.
No, I think it's like $69 regularly, I want to say.
Oh, that ain't bad.
So, okay. Yeah, it's not the biggest. Like, so for example, I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. I'm like 220 right now. A little bit tubby, but yeah. For me, it fits me fine. But like for Randizzle, he said he didn't like it because it felt short. So he just got the new red, or they're not new, but he just picked up the Red Gills bag, and he likes the way it fits a lot better. He said it's way more comfortable for him. So, again, a lot of it's just going to be personal fit and feel. And same thing for rods. I just posted that on my Instagram today. For me, one of the first things I look at for a rod is fit in hand. It could be a $10,000 rod where you feel every single fish bite, but if it hurts my hand and it's not comfortable, I don't want it.
Gotcha.
So I don't know, like that'd be interesting. What's the first thing that you look at for a rod? Is it fit?
I would probably say just about the same. To be honest, I like the real grip itself. You know what I mean? I don't really care too much between cork and EVA, but I mean, I want the reel seat to be comfortable in hand, you know. And other than that, I mean, I know it really doesn't make the rod fish any better, but I still, whenever I'm looking at a rod, I look at the overall build of the rod, the epoxy. I mean, if a company's not even taking the time to put the rod together right, you know what I mean? If they're so mass produced, I mean, that kind of turns me off of a company. I mean, I like the rod to be affordable for one, you know, look good as well, perform well, but I mean, it just kind of turns me off if the rod has everything else, but it just looks like crap. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I like a company to take some time with it, you know. But I'd say, the most important thing for me would be the reel seat, just how comfortable it is in hand. And getting to that, too, I mean, that's one thing about the Corrado DC that we were talking about earlier. It's a fantastic reel, but for me, it's not all that comfortable in hand. Like, it's not a reel that I would want to crank with or spinner baits. You know, I don't mind skipping with it just because of how you're holding it in your hand. But if it's a reel that you're going to be constantly putting pressure on as you're cranking and stuff, it's not all that comfortable. So that would definitely be one of the first, is how comfortable it is, you know.
Yep, and I agree. And that's one of the things. I don't know how big of a difference it is from, because I'm trying to think with my SLX DC, like from a Corrado to a Corrado DC, like that's no problem for me. Both of those feel about the same from what I can remember, because I fish finesse jigs on my regular Corrado. But that's the tough part, is when people ask you, you know, questions, because I'm sure you get bombarded with tackle questions too, is I can tell you what works for me or what's comfortable for me, but we were talking about Fat Boy Fishing before. Him and I have had conversations where he's like, dude, I tried this and this feels like junk. Why'd you recommend this? And I'm like, bro, I love it. He's like, oh, I don't. I'm like, okay, that's fine, you know. And then we talk about stuff, and he tells me stuff he likes. So we can only tell people so much, but a lot of it you kind of have to get it in your hands and try it. So it's tough. But
and that's what's terrible about ordering online. You can't feel it out, you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I used to buy a lot of my rods directly at Bass Pro until I'd go in there and I'd see guys testing the rods out, the actions and all that. One guy would be standing on the tip. Another guy would be messing around with the rod. And after seeing all that, I'm like, I am not going in there and picking up one of these rods after somebody's done stood on it and stuff, you know. So ever since I've seen that, I've always ordered, you know, all my gear. I don't buy them in the store anymore just because of that, you know.
Yeah, and that happens too. Like, people kind of get down on places like, oh, I ordered a rod from Tackle Warehouse, or I ordered a rod from this place and it was broke. Like, dude, that's not the company's fault. Maybe it is if they pack, you know, cheaply and junkily, but most of the companies pack pretty well. Like you saw with USPS, we were just talking about this before, is whoever the hell's delivering that, or however it got from point A to B, I'm like, were they playing teeter-totter on your rod tube or what? Like, you have to do some serious banging around on that thing to break it that bad.
And I almost wanted to say that she did it because, if you ever seen the little bitty mail trucks, they're so small, and that was that rod was 7'5". I want to say, I think you probably broke it trying to fit it in your truck. You know what I mean?
Maybe she did.
She took it out of there as an angle, and I want to say, if that rod wasn't broken, there's no way you even would have fit that in there. So I think that's what she did. She put it in there, she jammed it in there, broke the rod, and then blamed it on somebody else.
That's a good point. Maybe it's a conspiracy. They don't want to haul these big tubes. They're just going to keep breaking them in hopes that people don't use USPS.
Right.
Go Ups or something where they have the big trucks with the big slidey door on back.
Right. Really, I think that was the only broken rod that I ever had delivered. Now, I did have an order from Dobbins years ago, and they ship in a PVC tube. And believe it or not, that tube came in, busted in half. I mean, how do you break a 6-inch PVC tube, busted in half? Now, the rods obviously weren't broke, but I mean, it had to take some force to bust that tube.
That's crazy.
And what were they doing with that? I mean, did they run over it?
I don't know. My thing, I've never actually received a rod busted like you had. I've received a couple containers that were like that. The rod survived. I've had probably 10 rods that I've received where the guides are broke. And I try to share that with people whenever I can, but you showed a cool deal on your channel of checking every single guide with a Q-tip, because if there's any cracks or breaks in it, it's going to catch those little tiny fine hairs of the Q-tip. So that's a tip for all of you. I always carry a flashlight. Part of my everyday carry, I've always got a flashlight on me. So use a little flashlight and look at every single line guide, not just the actual circles, the inside insert, and make sure they're not cracked or broke, because if you miss it, I've done it a couple times, and you get out and you're reeling in, and you start getting frays and like little curly things. You're like, what the hell? Not even around any rocks. It's literally just rubbing along that insert and fraying your line. So check those. Make sure you check those in the mail. That's always a risk with the mail, but like you said, you can have some guy standing on your rod at Tackle or at Bass Pro. So
yeah,
choose your poison, right?
Yeah, right.
Let's. I had another good one. Where was How about spinning stuff? I know you and I, and it's not because I don't like spinning gear. I like spinning gear. But let's say if you only had, going out this spring, you only had one bait casting combo and one spinning combo. What are you taking? What are you grabbing for spring fishing?
Well, for spring fishing, for me, it would have to be one bait caster combo would have to be a cranking rod, just because I know I'm going to start out with a square bill.
Okay, so let me back you up a step there. Is it going to be an actual like dedicated cranking rod, or are you just taking like a medium and hoping for the best? Do you actually like a dedicated like composite or graphite strict?
Yeah, they're graphite.
Rod?
I just get a graphite with it's a moderate or a moderate fast tip. I don't use glass rods or anything like that.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry, a composite or glass. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, I would definitely go just a full cranking rod for sure. I mean, you can get away with a medium, like you said, or even a medium heavy fast. But I definitely prefer a cranking rod. I would pick the dedicated cranking rod just because I know it's how I'm going to fish.
What power did you say? Did I just miss it?
Well, I mean, it really depends on the weight of the lure. For the most part, it's going to be a medium heavy with a mod fast action. But I mean, if I'm trying to throw something light, I'll go to a medium power with a set of moderate or moderate fast action. But for the most part, like a KVD 1.5 or even like a Bomber Square, I throw those the most. They're 3/8 or so I would go with like a medium heavy, mod fast action.
Yep.
Reel, I like a 6-speed reel, normally 15-pound fluorocarbon. Spinning combo would probably be. It's tough. Probably, I'm going to say one of the most versatile spinning rods would be like a 7-footer, either like a medium light or a medium power, fast action, and probably I'd probably go out with a shaky head and 8 or 10-pound test fluorocarbon.
Okay, so on your spinning gear, do you usually go straight fluorocarbon?
I usually do, either straight fluoro or straight braid. And with the watercolor that I fish, there's a lot of times I'll run just straight braid. Just because, I mean, the water clarity is so bad there that I feel I can get away with it. I'm just not a big fan of running leader simply just because I don't like the extra connection knot. Too, I ain't got like an hour to tie the FG knot either. So, but
dude, Alberto, get to know Alberto. He'll hook you up.
That would go one too.
I love that one. Yep.
Yeah, either straight fluoro or straight braid. Okay. And like I said, we'll go shaky head.
So interesting.
How about you though?
So for me, I would say a 7.2 just because it's my favorite. A 7'2" medium heavy fast action bait caster, probably with 15-pound fluorocarbon as well. So we agree pretty close there. I wouldn't go with a dedicated cranking just so I can throw, swim jig, spinner. For me, spinner bait has always been a big deal for me, or lipless. Yeah. You can get away with a lipless on that. It might be a little bit too stiff, but you can get away with it on there. Spinning rod is pretty much the same. 7', 7'2", medium power, fast action. You can throw your Ned rig, shaky heads, wacky worms. That's like my go-to spinning rod. But I'm pretty much always 15-pound braid to a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader is my deal. I'm always braid to a leader. So you can see two guys who are successful fishing, different ends of the spectrum. So.
And Alberto knot is what you use for connection knot.
Alberto, yep.
Okay.
Yep. Oh,
I used to tie.
Yes, Alberto.
I mean, years ago, I used to do connection knots and run braid to floor. I just got away from that over the years. But when I did that, I always run in the double uni. But it's just a bit bigger, to run through the guides.
Yep. Yeah, Alberto's pretty thin. I'm like you. I've tried the FG and I just tied one the other day, but it's just a pain. The Alberto I can whip out in 30 seconds, 40 seconds.
Right.
Like you just get so used to it, and it's just all it is turning it around. Whereas the FG's certain number. But if you get confident with that, I'm sure you'd have no problem with that either. If you're one of those guys that loves the FG.
Yeah, just like anything else. Yeah, you gain confidence in the knot, which I just don't have a ton of confidence. Me tying the FG knot for me to feel like if I hook one, am I going to be able to get it in? You know what I mean? I'd be wondering the whole time, is that not slip on me or?
And what you say is funny because I'm the same way with leaders on bait casters. I don't ever use a leader on a bait caster, especially when I'm throwing heavier stuff. Because I don't want that knot, and I don't feel comfortable if I'm slamming a hook set on a jig or a Texas rig, I don't want that knot there. Like for a spinning reel, I feel like I'm okay because a spinning rod is usually a little bit more spongy than a bait casting rod of similar power and action, and I don't ever put a ton of pressure on that knot. I'm just not scared of breaking it.
Right,
I don't.
Right.
But like on a bait caster, and there's guys that always tie leaders on a bait caster, so.
And see, I never do either, but I think I'd feel more confident with a bait caster because I'd be using heavier line. I think I'd just be afraid with the lighter line that it might slip, you know.
Yep. And
But even with bait casters, so, yeah, no leaders for me.
Yep. I'm the heavier line I can get away with. That's what I like to go to, and sometimes that kind of curses you, but I hate breaking off fish.
Mm-hmm.
Hate it. Let's see. So there's been a lot of reel talk. And Steve Smith just said, TG81, you guys got me in the Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier 2, and I have 2 great reels. So see?
Yeah, those are awesome reels, dude.
Helping people
You got
out.
some of those too as well.
I do. I got one. Yep, on that. It was the sale that you told me about. $49 a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't need any reels, but I mean, I just couldn't pass it up. I had to pick up a couple.
Well, yeah, you told me about it. I'm like, you know what, for $50, and yeah, at $50, it's a steal. Like, you get an aluminum frame reel, might as well.
Yep. I think that reel. I think even at full retail, it's a good deal. You know, it's a solid reel.
See, that's funny because like when you did your live, when you did your review of that reel, I think I was asking you like, would you put that reel over the Daiwa Fuego? You're like, yeah, I think I would. I like this reel better. You know, I forget what we talked about, and I'm like, for me, I think the Fuego is like one of the top ones. So again, it's just a matter of, you know, what feels comfortable in your hand and what you like.
And I think too, the Pro Qualifier, for whatever reason, it's a bit heavier, but it just feels more solid in hand to me compared to the Fuego. You know what I mean?
See, that's crazy because the Fuego feels like a tank to me. I don't know what the weight. Yeah, I don't know what the weight on the two is, but like it just feels like a little brick in your hand.
Right.
And I think it's more of the way it's shaped. It's got more of that like kind of oblong, longer shape to it.
Right. Yep.
I don't know. Speaking about reels, let's say, what are your top 2 favorite reels you've ever owned? You can go like old school reels you're using now.
I'm going to say top 2 reels. My top reel would probably be, you know, that's tough because I do have a Steez A, and it is an awesome reel. But it's almost like it's hard to justify the price of that reel because there's reels that are half that price that are really good, and one of those would be the Tatula Elite. It's like $249, so it's half the price of the Steez. And that reel, man, if you want to cast far, get the Elite, dude. It's an awesome reel.
So funny story about that. I'm going to interrupt you. Tackle Warehouse deal. I thought I was ordering that one, and I accidentally ordered the SVTW or whatever. I was upset when I got it. I'm like, they sent me the wrong reel. I'm like, Tackle Warehouse has never done that. These guys are idiots. Then I looked at my thing and I'm like, oh no, I picked the wrong reel.
Now, did you get the newer SV, the 2020 SV?
I got the new one, yeah.
I got that one as well. That's an awesome reel as well, though. I wouldn't be upset about that reel if I were you.
How does that one compare to the Elite?
I mean, the SV is more. For me, it's more for control. You know what I mean? You still get distance. You get more distance with the new SV compared to the previous model, I believe. But typically, the SV is just for more control. You're still going to get distance, but for me, the Elite just blows it away, dude. It's just like you can just barely just flick your wrist, man, and that Elite just
That's what I've heard. Dude. I've heard it's a pretty sweet reel. Is that a Japan-made reel? Do you know?
I honestly don't know.
I don't know what price point they get to when they start doing straight Japan.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I really don't know one. Number 1 reel, though, would have to be, it's a discontinued Daiwa SV103 would be my top reel. And it's just it looks like an old school Zillion. And it's built like a tank. It just feels so solid, almost like just a real fine watch. You know what I mean? It's awesome, dude. You don't feel any gearing in that reel. Like I said, it's a bit on the heavy side, but it's just a nice reel. You know, I'd say those 2.
I dig it.
How about you?
For me, oh man, so like the crappy thing for me was I missed out on my tackle addiction. Like as a kid, I had like 3 tackle boxes full of lures. I was a huge lure nut. I ended up leaving one at a boat ramp, so somebody stole a whole box of probably, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of stuff. So I lost one then. But then as I got into high school, I started fishing a little bit less. And then college, I was into MMA and jiu-jitsu and stuff. I didn't touch fishing really, but, you know, maybe a few times a year. So I missed out on a lot of stuff. So maybe like 7-8 years ago when I re-upped on all my arsenal, I still had everything that I was using from like junior high. So I missed a whole bunch of where I just didn't really pay attention to fishing.
Right.
But one of the first ones I got was the Lose LFS. And I don't know if I just got like a solid mint, you know, because with any company, you're going to get some that are kind of crummy and some that are better made. And I destroyed that thing, frogging for years, and I haven't had a single issue, knock on wood, with it.
I've heard a lot of guys recommend that reel. I personally haven't used that one, but I've heard that's a good reel.
Yeah, it's a little workhorse. And I don't know about the new ones. Like, I tried a couple of the new ones in store, and they didn't feel as good as the old ones. I think they redid them in like 2019, maybe 2020. I don't remember. But they did like the P2 supported pinion gear and all that. So like on paper they should be better, but again, I don't know if I just got a good one, but I love that thing. I trashed it. But again, it was like the first good reel, so I was cleaning it like 3 times a year, taking real good care of it every year, Otherwise, besides that, I've got an old Shimano Bantam from my old man. It was the reel that he caught his PB on, so it's kind of a sentimental thing, but that old Shimano Bantam,
Very cool.
Is pretty badass. Yeah.
What was his PB?
So funny story, and people are probably going to grill my old man for it, but this was back in the day. It was an old farm pond, and he had one of those old, like, metal, crappy, like, spring ones, back in the day. And he put it on it when he got home because he kept it, of course. And I'm like, oh, Dad, why'd you keep it? He's like, that's what we did in the day. Like, if you caught a big fish, you took it home, you took pictures. He's like, we didn't know about the catch and release stuff and, how important it was. But he said it was somewhere in the 9-pound range. Like, he wishes he could have got he's like, I don't know if that was accurate with that. Maybe it was more, maybe it was less. And I'm like, dude, you could have had a double digit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, when you're that close, you want to definitely get it on a scale.
Yeah. Digital scale, you want to know exactly,
Right.
So.
What is your
7-pounders my
7?
PB. Yep.
Do you have a picture of it?
I do, yeah.
Because I'm saying that my PB is 7 pounds. Okay, I've caught 6s before, and like I said, this one here, I didn't have a scale with me, but like just comparing it to fish that I've caught in the past, I'm saying it's got to be 7 pounds. So I'm going to send you some pictures after this stream, and you tell me what you think. This fish weight compared to your 7-pounder.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's tough
I got videos
like
releasing the fish too.
Angle and stuff, like, it makes it hard, just to tell from a picture, but if you've caught 6-pounders, like when you hook a big one, like once you start getting over that 3, 4, like they kind of look the same, but man, once you start getting over that 5-pound hump, there's a clear difference. There's a clear difference in size. Okay, I dig it. Let's see. Cool. Had a couple donations come in, and I've got a question for you, Jim. My guy Neil, Daiwa Tatula 150 HS is my favorite reel I own. I like it even more than my Shimano SLX DC. I don't have that Tatula 150. I've got the 100 and the 200, and they're both solid. I actually don't think...
That 100's nice, man.
It is. It's a great light lure reel. If you're looking for a reel that casts light lures, at the price point, this is like, I think, a $150 reel. This thing is gold. Great at casting light cranks. Right there? What's that?
That's the 100 right there?
That's the Tatula 100, yep.
I'll tell you what, if you like the 100, you would absolutely love the Elite, dude. Because to me, they're very, very similar.
Don't rub it in. You're rubbing in my stupidity for picking the wrong thing.
I mean, the 100, I think I even did a review on the 100, and I even said in that review that to date on that, when I did that video, the 100 was the best feeling tattoo that I've ever felt. And that was until I had the Elite, You need to get you one, dude.
I won't know. Maybe we can bargain. You can do your Elite review. I can do my SV review, and then we can swap.
There you go.
Then send them back. My guy Neil, thank you very much, brother. Let's see. I also got one from Nathan Anderson with the 20 bomb. Thank you so much, Nathan. Great to see 2 of the best doing some videos for us Fishin' fans. Always well done, gents. Best of luck with the Fishin'. Dude, thank you so much. It means a lot to Jim and I. I know when we get comments for each other, people know we kind of have similar channels, similar interests. It's awesome. It's awesome seeing other people and collaborating. Like, YouTube can kind of be weird because sometimes it seems like, it's sides or can kind of get clicky. And you would think most people on YouTube, it's like, dude, it's hard enough just to get viewers alone, Like, why wouldn't you want to help people? So anytime I can, like I said, for a long time, I didn't reach out to people. I didn't talk to other YouTubers. I didn't want to be that guy. But anytime I can help out or, we can share ideas, I am certainly down for it. One thing I saw that I want to touch on, I saw my guy Bob Davis was in here. Bob, thank you for always joining. You're always in my streams. But somebody asked, and I'm sorry, I don't know who it was. Do you have like a dream fishing place that you'd like to go to, like that you haven't hit yet, like a lake, or I suppose it could be not necessarily in the United States if you're into that stuff.
Be honest, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, just I've been going down to Table Rock for the last handful of years, and to be honest, I've never fished it. We just go down there to boat and tube with the
Really?
kids.
You've never fished
I've
there?
never fished it. Well, here's how I look at it. I mean, I'm on vacation with the family. I fish enough while I'm here, so I figure when I'm down there, I should be spending time with the kids and the wife, not, fishing. So that's kind of why when I go down there, even though I want to fish, I just do what they want to do, and obviously that's rent a boat and go tubing and all that. Which the lake is so beautiful. I mean, I know there's better lakes out there and all that, but for me, my dream lake to fish right now would be Table Rock Lake.
That's awesome. What's it like? I've never been down. I've been down to the Ozarks. I grew up actually in southern Iowa, northern Missouri. So I've been to the Ozarks a few times. It's a beautiful place. Like, how does Table Rock compare? I don't know if you've been.
Yeah, I mean, very, very similar, but it's just, I don't know what. So there's something about it, dude. I'm down there. It's like I feel like it's home. You know what I mean? It's just.
That's awesome.
It's a very welcoming area, and like I said, the lake is just beautiful, man. Tunnel. I mean, I don't really know how big it is, but it's big.
It's a pretty big lake.
And
Yeah, it's a pretty big lake.
Yeah, it's just that would be definitely number one for me.
I dig it.
How about you?
People have asked me that, and I don't have like a certain spot. I just want to go to some of these places where I see these guys catching monster fish all the time. Like,
oh yeah.
Whether that's Florida, like I've always had an infatuation with Texas. I don't know if I want to move there really. It looks great. Like I like warm weather. I hate the snow and the cold of Iowa. Even though I've lived here forever, I hate it. But it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's once you get down there in the summer, it's so damn hot.
Right.
You can't do anything. It's like winter here. So I don't know. Texas somewhere. Lake Fork has always interested me. I don't know what it is about it, but I remember like I don't know 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I was watching a deal where they have the Lake Fork tournament, and every hour you can go in and weigh your big fish, and if you win, you're entered in to the boat drawing, and they have deals every hour, and you can bring your fish back. And I'm like, that would be fun because it's not like the big five of the day. It's like every hour, and you just regular guys are winning. So I don't know. I'm gonna say Lake Fork. Why not? Yeah.
I got another question for you. If you weren't bass fishing, what would you be fishing for?
I don't know. Whatever bites. I don't like. I don't have a huge discrepancy of catching fish when it's not bass. So for example, me and my old man have been to the Mississippi before and cranked for walleyes. Ton of fun. I've got on piles of wipers that are biting. Really whatever's. I just don't like to sit with a live bait like bobber and do nothing.
Right.
Anything where I'm actively fishing.
Gotcha. I think if I wasn't bass fishing, I'd probably go for muskies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Probably pike. Pike topwater is more fun than bass fishing a lot of times.
No kidding?
Yeah. Yeah, they blow. It's like somebody throws a cannonball in the water when they hit a topwater frog, because you can frog fish for them, and that's my addiction moved over into toothy critters.
Right.
And they're just so aggressive, man. They're mean little dudes. They're snotty and slimy, and that's kind of the part I like about it, because most bass guys don't even want to touch them. They're like, oh, pike. I just love getting the slimy, toothy, mean. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Kind of weird.
So what's your biggest pike?
I've never weighed them. I've never done a weight. I would guess mid-30s I caught a few years ago, but usually with those you don't really weigh them. It's measurement deal. But
gotcha. Is that in your area around you? You catch those?
Yeah, we've got them all around in Iowa. Really good muskie fishing actually too. Lake McBride is only about 20 minutes from me, 30 minutes from me. It's a good huge wiper. I remember my buddy used to catch huge wiper out of there. He'd show me pictures, and that's kind of gone downhill. But muskie fishing, we've got Pleasant Creek over by Palo, which is 30 minutes from me, I'd say. One of the best pike fishing spots. 40 inches coming out of there all the time on muskie. And I've went and targeted them on multiple occasions, but I've only ever caught muskie on bass gear, bass fishing.
Right. Gotcha.
And you accidentally catch them, but that's unless you've done that. I hear guys throwing bass rigs, a bass combo. talking about, oh, this is heavy compared to my Shimano, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, you don't know heavy until you've tossed a 3 ounce to 5 ounce musky deal all day, man. That stuff wears you out.
Gotcha. Right. Be fun though.
Yeah, they're fun. Like, and I think the cool part about those is you're not catching a bunch of them. So if you catch one, maybe 2 in a day, like it's a sweet victory. But like, man, when you see that thing coming in, following your bait, it's crazy. It's crazy. Right. Let's see, Mike Piles or Pills Jr. Mike, I need to know how to pronounce your last name. What up, Debo? Mike, thank you so much. You're always in our lives. We appreciate it. Let's see. Do you have any questions or anything you want to talk about? We're at the hour. We're actually at an hour 10.
Wow, that went fast, dude.
Dude, I didn't think we were anywhere close to that.
No, I didn't either. And
we've still got 350 people watching, so I'm still down to talk tackle. We can go for an hour and a half, maybe then call it. I know you've got kid stuff you need to do.
Good. Yeah, whatever. I'm off tomorrow, so I'm good. It don't matter.
Let's see, questions. Do you have any questions for me or anything you want to go over?
I think I kind of been asking them as they come to mind, so I think I'm good right now. I'm sure I'll think of some more here before the stream's over.
Okay.
Let me ask you, how about your name? I think I was talking to you about that before. What is Debo?
Debo. So Debo actually came in my MMA gym. It was actually, he was my boss at the time. My guy Keone got me into MMA. So we worked together. So I was going to college full time, and when I got off college at like 2:30, I would go into work, and I was working in like an inbound customer service telemarketing deal, typical college deal, working until 9 o'clock, and then we'd get off, and then we'd train for 2 hours MMA till 11 o'clock, and then do it all over again. So it was crazy. It was a grind, but he was actually my coach, the owner of the gym. And somehow down the line, he started calling me Debo. And I don't know if I just kind of Debo'd somebody and bullied him in the gym one night. And it just stuck. It just stuck. Right. I don't know. So it's kind of funny. Do you have a nickname?
Now, did you do like tournaments and all that?
I did, yeah. I fought until like 2007 or 8. I forget what it was.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was 6-2, 6 wins, 2 losses. I lost my very first fight. So that was back in the day, like if y'all remember the old Pride rules, if you watch MMA and stuff. In Pride back then, which would have been like 2004 into 2003, I took my first fight on 6 months' notice. Or after training 6 months, I took it on like 5 hours' notice. So I was friends with the promoter. We were going to go down and watch the show, me and a couple buddies. He calls me. He tells me this guy's opponent pulled out, couldn't make the fight. He's like, dude, I know you're coming down. Do you want to fight? Your first fight. He's like, I'll pay you. I think it was like $500. I'm like, damn, $500 a fight? Yeah. At the time, I'm a college guy living paycheck to paycheck. Right. I'm like, all right, screw it. Let's do it. And I called my Keone, my head trainer at the time. He's like, you're doing what? He's like, I can't come. He's like, do you guys have guys in your corner? I'm like, yeah, I got guys. So anyway, it was scary as hell. I had butterflies all over. And he told me beforehand, he's like, yeah, the guy you're fighting has only fought a couple times. It's no big deal. Well, I get there and come to find out he's like one of the big, it was in Des Moines. He's like one of the Des Moines guys. Ronnie Britt was the guy. And he had fought like 12 times before that. And people are like, you're fighting Ronnie? And he's like a local legend. I'm like, oh, yes. I'm a feeder fight. And sure enough, we traded hands for a little bit. I actually took him down. And then we started scuffling on the ground. And he broke my nose in that fight. So I was gushing blood. But you could actually do knees on the ground. So like when you're actually on the ground, you could knee to the opponent's head, which is illegal now. Broke my nose, got me in like a weird side choke. I've got blood all over. I end up tapping out. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And it was the best thing that happened to me. Getting my butt kicked was extremely humbling. And that was my first fight. So, gotcha.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah, it's been a long time ago.
Why did you get out of that?
I had my first.
Was that something you planned to do? Like be like a UFC fighter, like like professional?
I thought maybe I could make a run at some of the smaller organizations and try to build my way up. But no, I ended up getting hurt a couple times. My neck got messed up, and I've got like multiple discs that are messed up now from it. But I was on a 6-fight win streak. I won a Pro-Am belt up in Wisconsin.
That's
and
cool.
I was on a roll. I'm like, dude, we're going to do it. And then I fought in my hometown, and it was the first time my parents had been here. It was the first time like all my local fans. I had never fought locally. Every fight that I was supposed to fight locally in my hometown had got canceled, or my opponent pulled out. So I never got a fight in hometown. It was always like 3, 4, 5 hours away. And my parents came, and dude, I was so nervous. I was a head case before. Like, I had no reason stepping out on the mat. I was so nervous. And yeah, I ended up getting Flash knocked out. He put me on my butt, and the refs jumped in and stopped it. So I lost my last fight. And like, people would bring that up, like, oh, you were supposed to be so good, and you got knocked out. And it's like, yeah, you know what happens. Conor McGregor just got knocked out, and he's one of the best fighters out there. So people like that, you just have to shake your shoulders to, because like anybody that really fights knows you're never going to go unbeaten forever. It's not going to happen. But
I remember back in the day watching UFC's. I think it was Uriah Faber.
Uriah was a big guy. Yep.
Yeah, he was a good dude. He was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, like for me, like we're going old school, but Vanderlei Silva was my favorite guy back in Pride. Just mean, just like I wanted to be him, and it's crazy how much time changed. Like now, so I stopped fighting after that fight. I was supposed to fight for another belt, and I dislocated my shoulder. I've had like bad shoulder issues too. Couldn't defend my belt. They ended up stripping me of the belt, saying, if this is what you're going to do to us, blah 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 blah. All the politics behind it. And then shortly after that, like, I hurt my neck really, really bad and had to get MRIs and stuff. And at that time I had 2 girls, you know, my girls were young, and I'm like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, you know, and I just kind of made the decision to ease out, and that's actually what started me into fishing. So close one chapter, open another. Yeah.
That's cool.
Let's see.
What was the one guy that he did that one kick off the fence? What was that guy's name?
Oh, that's funny. That's Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, Pettis. Yeah, I used to like to watch him too. Yeah.
So a local guy. I was actually speaking about fights. Eric Koch used to train up there with him. He's actually Keone's younger brother. Eric still fights in the UFC at a hard drive here in town. I used to train with Keone and Eric in his basement, and we had to actually lie to get Eric into his first fight, saying he was 18.
That's cool, dude.
They didn't have a ton of sanctions at the time, but like, it's crazy thinking back to that, training in a basement with those guys, with a kid that was underage, to now being a kid that's in the UFC. Keone actually owns his own gym now. That was like always our dream, talking about, you know, back in the day. He finally owns his own gym, a very successful gym. So it's cool to see that stuff come together. Gotcha. But yeah, Eric used to train up there. What I was going to say is Eric used to train up there with Anthony Pettis at Rufus Sport. So
very cool.
Yeah, it's a small world, man.
It is small world, dude.
Let's see. I did get some rod questions, and I know you kind of talked about it, and I'm kind of the same way. Do you guys prefer split grip or full grip? And then we could also kind of talk about cork or EVA. Do you have preferences one way or another?
I mean, years ago, I used to prefer the cork, but it really, put it this way, it really depends, you know, if you like a certain rod, then if it has EVA or cork, then you have to go with that. If you want to use a Dobbins or an Akuma or whatever rod, if that's the brand that you choose, and they only offer them in one or the other, that's just what you go with. And so for the longest time, all the rods that I chose all had cork grips. And for me, you know, cork was very comfortable. I think you got some warmth from it in the cold weather as well. It's kind of grippy. For me, it was just more comfortable. And then when I kind of transitioned to the Akuma rods, majority of those were EVA. And it just, you know, to me, it was an easy transition from one to the other. I mean, I honestly don't care. You know, I used to kind of think I wanted cork, but now that I've used EVA so much, it really doesn't matter really one way or the other for me.
I'm the same. And I think, I don't know if you're that way. When you fish a jig, do you finger the line or no?
Not so much.
No? Okay. So, like, for me, and it's different for everyone, like, I honestly don't care if it's cork, full cork, split, EVA. Again, it just has to feel comfortable in my hand. I like both. But for me, I always finger my line, like when I'm doing any sort of moving baits or any sort of things where I'm moving it with the rod. So like a jig or a Texas rig, I've always got what I mean.
What do you mean? Like, I'll have my finger under the line, but I won't actually grab the line.
No, that's what I mean. So I've got my finger under the line. And to me, like, guys want to argue about sensitivity of cork versus EVA versus, if you have your line or finger under the line like that, you're going to feel so much more.
Sure.
And I'll argue that all day, that you can give me an EVA, and if you're actually feeling the line with your finger, I mean, you can't beat that for sensitivity. Or go braid. I mean,
there you go. As far as one or the other, I used to when I was like any technique that's working the bottom, like a jig or Texas rig, I used to go full cork or full grip, I guess you could say. And then any type of like reaction bait, I would like a split grip. But even now, I mean, that's something I did years ago. Even now, I mean, it really doesn't really matter to me either way. I think majority of the rods that I use are split grip.
Yeah, I've got both, and like I said, it's as long as it feels comfortable. I really don't care. There's some corks that I have that just feel. There's a Daiwa Tatula rod. It's one of the older ones, dude. In hand, it's a full. I think it's full cork. It just feels solid, like it fits. It molds to my hand. Where I've got some full corks that just don't. They don't feel great, you know.
Right, gotcha.
So, let's see. Fishing with
that's what it
Gramps.
comes down to, really. What's comfortable.
Yep. Fishing with Gramps in the house. Good guy. Let's see. I saw somebody else in here. My guy North Fork Fishing in here. Appreciate him dropping in. Let's see. There was a couple other questions. We're almost at an hour and a half. I can't believe it, man. I wish I could pick your brain for longer, but
we'll have to do this again, dude. It's fun.
I'm down, dude. If we do the reel cleaning, I think that'll be fun. Chatting, tearing apart reels, talking about the inside parts. I did see some guys talking about Doyo versus. I need to look up on that more. I thought Doyo had a Chinese factory too. Maybe they don't. Nate Summers said Doyo is Korea, JDM is just Japanese domestic market. But I thought Doyo had Chinese factories too. Maybe it's like Doyo Lang or something like that. I don't remember, but
I honestly don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. And I think you're kind of the same way. You use it, and if it feels good and if I like it, I don't care where it comes from.
I don't care where it was made. It don't really matter to me. Yeah.
Yep, I'm the same way. If it's made in China and it works well and it feels good, I'll give you my honest opinion on it. I'm not going to use something just because it's Japan made and it's supposed to be better, you know. So.
Right.
But I think we're rolling down here. We're almost at an hour and a half. I'm not going to keep you anymore. Any closing thoughts or anything you want to say to everyone? Well, first off, everybody go check out Tackle Junky. Where can we find you? Where can we subscribe and find you?
TackleJunky.com.
TackleJunky.com. So Tackle Junky on YouTube. I think you're just Tackle Junky 81 on Instagram too, right?
Instagram and Facebook, yeah.
Yep. So look up Tackle Junky there. Good guy. We've been friends for a while. I always appreciate him talking gear. Feel free to pick both of our heads. I know he gets a ton of questions on gear. I'm behind on questions, but hit me up on Instagram. Also for stickers, if you donated tonight and want to get a sticker, just make sure you hit me up on Instagram. Jim, I'll send you a couple too.
Sure, dude.
But that's it. That's it from us.
I appreciate everyone tuning in. It was an awesome stream, dude.
Yes, dude. I appreciate it a ton. It's always fun talking tackle, so we'll have to do it again. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for joining. But we're going to get out of here, give you some time back. So